Welcome to PopXcast, a podcast that brings together the worlds of pop culture and science fiction in a way that breathes life into our inner child. From nostalgia to all things retro, pop culture news, film reviews, and the Retro Rewind, we explore all realms of geeky goodness. So find your comfy spot, top off your glass, and don't forget those pizza rolls in the air fryer because it's time for PopXcast. You are listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
Here we go!
PopXcast.
I was born in it, molded by it.
PopXcast. No strings on me. Autobots, transform. I'm Batman. By the power of Grayskull. PopXcast.
We're doomed.
Goal here is Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
Here's Johnny. Never had a pet pony.
Hasta la vista, baby.
PopXcast.
Captain's log supplemental.
Negasonic Teenage. What the
I am the one who knocks.
Excelsior!
Guys, seriously though, thank you so much for joining us tonight here on PopXcast. 139, we are literally barking down the door to episode 150. And it's crazy because I feel like we just did 100 with John Sakari at Big Fat Panda, and now here we are, 50 episodes. Austin's stuck. Okay, he's in a time loop.
Does he need an oil can?
Do you need some sentimental factor?
He needs a tickle.
He needs to be tickled. I'm gonna tickle his fancy.
But anyway, but guys, seriously, thank you so much for joining us. Episode 139, March the 6th. I mean, this is going to be a great episode. Good to have you on board. Please like and share. And with all that said, we're going to go ahead and roll the old news. You guys ready for some new PopX news headlines? I know I am.
Oh,
Austin's got his thumbs up, so here we go.
Extra, read all about it. This is PopX News, coming to you live right here on PopXcast.com.
All right, Mr. Austin Burke is leading us out this week because it makes sense, him being the official critic of the show. Give us those box office numbers this weekend, Austin.
he's a professional.
He's
I love box office.
I
And
know
we've
you
got some really good news today. It should come as no surprise to learn that the Batman is an absolute behemoth for Warner Brothers. Perhaps the most iconic character in Warner Brothers' library, Batman commands a certain amount of attention at the box office, and this new film is doing more than just keeping up a successful trend. Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's take on the Caped Crusader has given the studio a massive opening weekend both here in North America and around the world. The Batman opened to the tune of $128.5 million domestically this weekend. That's good for the second biggest opening weekend since the pandemic began 2 years ago. Trailing only the 20-year encapsulation known as Spider-Man No Way Home, so that makes sense. The Batman's domestic opening is easily the biggest of 2022 so far and is now the 5th best March opening of all time. What makes this weekend even more impressive, however, is just how successful the Batman has been overseas. This is the number that freaked me out here. DC's latest Batman film has earned another $120 million at the international box office this weekend, bringing its global total to $248.5 million. It took just 3 days for the Batman to get a quarter of the way to $1 billion. Now, I am almost positive, I need to be fact-checked just in case, but I think the China release date still hasn't hit yet. Obviously, no Russia release date. We know why. But
They're in timeout.
Yes, absolutely. But not having China and, going in mostly select markets, I think this is an incredible total. And I'm seeing across the board countries that don't normally perform this well with like single hero origin stories. People are coming out in flocks. Now, granted, it's Batman, but you have a new director, you have new actors, an entirely new looking and feeling franchise. I'm impressed with this box office. It's right where I think it should have been, but again, internationally is where it's kind of opening my eyes. What say you, Joe? What do you think?
Seriously, the domestic numbers were kind of like, okay, I can understand that, but the overseas numbers blew me away. Incredible. Given the fact that some of the countries are not part of this equation, given things that's going on in the world right now, but it's staggering, bro. So this is in 3 days. This is from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or is this considered preview night as well? Is preview night in this number, or do we know?
Preview night, yes.
So,
preview night is in.
Okay,
this
so this is up till So, dude, what is this thing going to do in a week?
It's gonna slay.
Here's what's going to happen. The diehard fans that are Batman, like us, superhero fan films, we love it. They're going to go and tell all their buddies who are normally not superhero fans. They're going to you need to go watch this. This is like unlike any superhero film. Forget Marvel. This is dark. This is crazy stuff. Adult. And dude, they did this with the PG-13 rating. How on earth did they?
They squeaked by. That's what they did. They squeaked by the skin of their carpet tucker.
Jeez, carpet tucker. Okay.
Sorry.
Pun intended.
Yeah, pun intended. I like that.
Dude.
But no, I really do think the PG-13 rating, the fact that they managed to get that is huge for it. And like you said, Joe, word of mouth is going to be huge. I'm excited to see the holdover, and I'm excited to see how many repeat viewings we can get with this movie. I've seen it 3 times, so I'm excited.
Wow. Yeah, I want to see it a second. There's things I know that I was trying to process, and your eyes are bouncing all over the place, and you're trying to get that first absorption of the film. But then you need to go back and watch it to really get the gist of what Matt Reeves was creating.
There's so much content there to process that it begs for a rewatch to be able to catch everything, because there's so many details.
Dude, the freaking city.
Oh my God.
We're going to pause right there. We're going to pause right there.
We're going to peel back all that in a minute.
We're going to talk about that here in a minute. Oh my gosh. Freaking amazing. Oh my gosh. Great.
So impressive for a first opening weekend. Well done, Batman.
All right. Badge, I believe you got our next one.
Yes, I do. And this is kind of cool. Nearly 15 years after I Am Legend hit theaters, Warner Brothers is returning to the film's post-apocalyptic wasteland with the original star Will Smith in tow. And he's bringing a new friend.
Uh-oh.
Deadline brings word that the studio is developing a sequel with Smith appearing opposite Michael B. Jordan. Directed by Francis Lawrence and adapted from the Richard Matheson novel of the same name, I Am Legend cast Smith and Robert Novell, a virologist who fears he may be the last man on Earth after a failed attempt to cure cancer either wipes out most of humanity's population or turns survivors into cannibalistic mutants called Dark Seekers. Oh my lord. Neville spends his days searching for a cure in a barren New York City until a surprising turn of events leads him to discover that he isn't as alone as he previously thought. Original I Am Legend screenwriter Avica Goldsman is coming back to pen the screenplay and will produce via Weeds Roads Pictures alongside Greg Lasans. And however, the studio still hasn't hired a director for the project yet. But this is cool because I really, really enjoyed the first movie.
I gotta say, I really did enjoy this one too. It was one of those.
It was different,
right? It was cool, and also too, there is a Warner Brothers. You know where I'm going with this? There is a tie in there. If you guys don't know the big Easter egg when he's walking in Times Square and you see the Batman versus Superman logo that would prequel 10 years later, almost exactly the Batman versus Superman movie. Almost the logos look exactly the same.
Wow. They do.
It's pretty crazy. But I'm excited to see Will Smith back in this post-apocalyptic genre of film, especially with Michael B. The talent, the dude is a stud when it comes to talent.
He is.
I can't wait to see what he's going to bring to the table. Is he going to be a friend, an antagonist? We don't know. But
and my big question is this the first movie to ever get a sequel that uses the alternate ending? Because remember, in the original ending, Will Smith's character died, but in the alternate ending, he lived. So
right.
Are they making the alternate ending canon?
I forgot there was.
There is too. Dude.
Yeah.
Blowing minds here. Because I remember the end of it. I don't want to give it away if you've not seen it, but I do remember the last few scenes of that. And though sad, it was just kind of like, wow, really, what happened there? And so it's interesting to hear that he is coming back. If he is coming back, that means that the multiverse of, I don't know.
I guess they're just assuming everyone saw the alternate ending. Maybe they'll explain it at the beginning of the film, but
Maybe.
I'm curious to see how they do this.
It's
interesting.
It's going to be
like
cool.
The movie. I like the movie.
I do. I kind of want to go watch it again. I kind of want to see it
me
again.
too.
It's been a while. It's been about 5-6 years.
15 years is what the article said. That's
It's-
a long time to
That's-
recall details of a
Wait,
movie.
this movie is that old?
Yes.
Was it 08?
I
Maybe
guess
it
that's-
was 08.
I guess you are right.
07, 08? One of those?
Gosh, that's when I was dating Alex. Holy cow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Well, I'm older than crap. All right.
That's crazy. Man.
Moving along.
Now that we all got an age check.
Oh, some of us needed it more than others, but I'm just going to say. All righty, moving along with the news here. This one's kind of cool, guys. It's official. Fans that, will not have to survive no more than 2 weeks without their feel of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Punisher. And it is starting on March the 16th. The former Marvel Netflix shows, along with ABC's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., will officially come to Disney+. Now, this marks a pretty significant development for Disney+. In the U.S., while overseas versions of the streamer have hosted quote-unquote mature content for quite a while, this is going to be opening up doors and creating a separate section for domestic versions for a PG-13 mature filter that is going to be now implemented into Disney+. So R-rated level violence, sex scenes, and stuff like that, straight out of what we see in some of these crazy, darker, more sinister Netflix shows like the Daredevil and the Punisher, which kind of show more gore and face and just all kinds of crazy stuff. Disney Plus will roll out a brand new parental control on March the 16th as well. And I think this is long overdue, especially here in America, because we've got some crazy shows that's going to be, if hold me out, Charlie Cox was in Spider-Man No Way Home. The rumor is that Charlie Cox may be coming back for Daredevil season 4, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey,
It makes sense.
it makes sense, right? And we also know that John Bernthal has been in talks to do a different version of his Punisher character, Frank Castle. So, guys, what are your thoughts on Disney Plus?
Well,
the show's coming.
This has been a long time coming because we were discussing these series in what Netflix and when Disney launched the Disney Plus
Mhm.
service, and we were like, well, maybe they'll move them to Hulu because of the more adults angle that these shows take. And so now we're finally years later getting the answer of where they're finally coming home to rest with the rest of the collective. We knew that they belonged in the Disney house. We just didn't know where their room was going to be.
Question, before we move on to the last news article of the week. Does this officially make these particular Marvel shows and characters canon?
Oh, yeah. I say
that's
yes.
where I'm struggling because now I think they are now, but my theory was, okay, they put it on Hulu, they treat it like a multiverse type of thing and just say the Charlie Cox that we see in No Way Home is the same Daredevil, but different. You know what I mean? Same, but different because they're making it lighter. Now that it's on Disney Plus and there is that filter, which I didn't think they would do, but it's pretty cool.
That is
Now
cool.
I'm thinking, how are they going to mesh the two things? You have a very hard TV mature rating, which means now that it is that version of Daredevil in the Spider-Man film, Are they going to change the tone of Daredevil season 4? Are they going to make it lighter, brighter, more like Hawkeye, or is it going to stick to its roots? I'm so curious to see what they do.
I am too.
Since they have the age restriction, I think they could go dark again. I really do.
I think the series will stay dark, but I think if he makes cameos into the other MCUs, it'll still stay lighter to hold.
Oh, we forgot Vince D'Onofrio in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I mean, he Kingpin. But here's another thing too. There's a couple shows that are missing from the thing. Is specifically the Runaways. Then you've got Cloak and Dagger, and then the Inhumans, which was kind of a flop. But we won't talk about that. But it was really interesting. I at some point, I think those shows, since Disney now owns Fox, the Runaways and Cloak and Dagger can be now included into that realm as well. Because they're on Hulu, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But it's just a side thought.
Oh, there's a whole new world, man.
Man, the chat's blowing up. I can't keep up with you guys. I Talk Marvel in the house. I want to say, what's up, Joe Pie? Hey, what's going on, man? So good to have you on board. We got Nova Omega. Looking forward to your Batman spoiler discussion. We're looking forward to having you on our Batman spoiler discussion. Nova. Wait a minute.
Nova Omega.
Anyway,
sweet, man. I love that name.
You like that? I do like that
feels
name.
good. That feels
it feels good on the whole. All right, who has got the last one? I believe it's Austin Burke with the last name.
On the whole, interesting. Can you,
Alfred? Where's my Bengay?
Alfred, get the cream. All right, there was a time when the casting of Keanu Reeves as Batman would have sent comics fans into extended outrage. Man, how times have changed. But now we've had numerous dark and serious takes, and Reeves himself has undergone a much reevaluation with fandom since the days of Constantine. It feels right in context. Said context being DC's League of Super Pets, the animated comedy based on animal sidekicks. Now, until recently, at least one of the actor role pairings remained officially unconfirmed. But now we know Keanu Reeves is Batman. And Batman just needed a puppy, as many might suspect. Not that it stops him from making dramatic, grimdark pronouncements. The classic 1989 Danny Elfman Bat theme certainly adds to his mood. Dwayne Johnson voices Crypto. Kevin Hart is Ace. Vanessa Bayer as PB. Natasha Lyonne as Merton. Diego Luna as Chip. John Krasinski as Superman. Mark Maron as Lex Luthor. Kate McKinnon, Thomas Middleditch, Ben Schwartz, and Jamila Jamil has also joined. My God, this cast. Joined the cast in as yet undisclosed roles, though it's presumed that some of them will play other Justice League members. DC's League of Super Pets opens on May 22nd. Be sure to check out Reeves' voiceover over in the latest trailer. I think it's like a 1-minute tease type thing. And it's great really to talk about that Danny Elfman theme that played, man. The fact that they can do whatever they want with that music now is really cool.
Yeah. John who?
Krasinski.
Yeah. AKA Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. We just went there, guys.
Oh, yes.
Good times. You know what? I was the trailer played right before the Batman. DC's super.
Oh, cool.
Well, really here for us, I don't know how it was like in your all's neck of the woods, but we got to see the full trailer and hear Keanu Reeves and all of that. So we got the full 3-minute trailer, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to go see this one. This looks so good, so cute, and fun. I may have to go see it because I kind of want to see who's the villain and where it's going to go in the storyline.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that same tone, like comedy, kind of playing on the things that we know about our heroes, as the Lego movie. And the Lego movie is phenomenal. Yeah. And the Lego Batman movie, like those movies are such great satire. If they can do that, but play it maybe more family rather than just kid-centric. I was not excited for this movie a couple months ago. Now I'm like, kind of got to see it in theaters. So let's go. I'm ready.
Want to see it. Yeah. Sounds great. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is going to wrap it up for this week's headlines, guys. And my gosh, we're already almost at the halfway point. We're going to go ahead and transition over and do a little retro rewind for you guys. We're going to dial back the 80 dial right now to 1986 specifically, and one of Disney's breakthrough movies, called Flight of the Navigator. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. PopX Cast is coming your way with the Retro Rewind. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. I promise.
Retro Rewind. Retro Rewind. Retro Rewind.
Retro Rewind, Flight of the Navigator. Man, I was sitting there a couple weeks ago and I was kind of toying like, what film do we want to cover that we've not covered yet already on PopX Cast? And this film was a technological marvel to pull off, and it cost the company millions to make. And a lot of people don't understand it, but the actual flying Avalos, or whatever you call it, is, for the most part, 80% CGI, 20% model, if you can believe that. And so if you've never seen, I want to give this little disclaimer, if you've never seen the making of Flight of the Navigator and how they did this, it is insane. Literally, 1986, this is at a time when the computers were still on reel-to-reel digital magnetic tape, and they would have to frame by frame hand generate, well, not hand generate, but computer generate each frame of the ship. Mind you, this was the first time ever that Disney invented the technique to add motion blur to its CGI so its CGI looked more realistic, which would pave the way for ILM to develop Jurassic Park literally just 6 years later. Think about it. So this movie is kind of like Tron in a way, because Tron was computer animation and CGI. But Tron, if you go back and watch it, when the ships are coming through on those like really horrible looking landscapes, there's no blur in the frame. It's just a constant CGI model moving. You know, this has full on reflection of the surface of the Earth. It's
much more realistic.
How they did, you need to watch the documentary on how they made this. It is seriously the best 45 minutes of your life. But with all that said, Flight of the Navigator, for me, strikes home on so many levels. It's got Joey Kramer stars as our kid here who's trapped between two dimensions, essentially. Yeah. He starts out in his one life, and then he's trapped in another life, and his home is not his home anymore. And he's caught between two worlds. And all he has is this weird, glowing, disco-looking orb of a ship, kind of leading him through the path to try to get back to where he was originally supposed to be. So I want to go to Lindsay Badger. I want to get your take on this. What did you think of Flight of the Navigator?
I actually enjoyed it. It was a really cute show. I got some really big like ET vibes from this show. With the way
that's a good way to put it.
Or the NASA in this movie, where it was the government before, you know, NASA wanting to like pick apart this kid that had contact with this alien force or whatever, and just trying to dissect the whole situation. I really just took me right back to those ET vibes as well. And I honestly don't think I've seen this movie before. And if I have, it was a very long time ago and I don't remember it.
Wow.
So it was just kind of like, I'm going to consider it a first watch for me.
Nice.
So it was a nice little adventure. I loved all the cute little alien creatures that were in the ship that were just so wacky and cute. But I mean, it was a story that you actually, you know, you felt emotion towards. You were attached to this kid and you felt really bad for him because he felt so lost and afraid and didn't know what was going on. And the whole time, the only thing he wanted to do was just go home.
Yeah.
And so you really go along with him on that journey. And I really enjoyed it. It was a nice little treat.
Nice. I love to hear that because, you know, here's the thing I like about what you just said, Lindsay. You had said you had never seen this film before. And, excuse me, I had a sinus infection last week. But you considered it a first watch. Yep. And I love hearing just how you're breaking it down because a lot of what you just said captures the heart and essence of the way I felt when I first watched it.
Yeah.
And so that was really awesome. Austin Burke, what do you feel? How do you like Flight of the Navigator?
I think it's a really interesting movie. I remember watching this. Mom and Dad bought it for us on VHS as a kid. So it was one of those, we'd pop the VHS in all the time and watch Fly the Navigator or some of the other ones, early 2000s, Emperor's New Groove. And we go back to some of the 90s Disney movies. We had a lot of Disney stuff as a kid on VHS, but this was one of the VHSs that we had. And but I hadn't seen it in probably, man, it may have been about 15 years.
Wow.
Maybe
okay.
more than that since I've seen this movie. But I don't remember it being as layered as it actually was, right? Because they build you up with this character to care so much about his journey. And when we get that decision at the end of the movie for him to get back on the ship instead of stay with that future family, that character arc was earned, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, genuinely earned. Like, you feel for him because it's like, oh, he's taking a huge risk, but it makes all the sense in the world because of the journey that he was just on. I also love the fact that it saves a lot of the traveling around Pee Wee Herman voice for the second half.
Paul Rubens, man.
It was
Freaking love
great.
it.
Oh my gosh.
So great in the movie. I love to just
so
quoting
80s.
Star Trek and all of these things,
Yeah.
man.
So
It was
80s.
super fun. It was so 80s, but I love it.
Very 80s.
And but they saved it all for the second half because the first half you have the fear instilled in this kid. They're operating on him. They're taking him and like probing him and stuff. And that's why we have that decision at the end. It's like, I don't want to stay here and go through this. Now, part of me was like, man, he forms that relationship with that girl. When he goes back in time, maybe in the future, that girl's there. And they're about the same age. And then they, I would have liked that ending.
Wow.
But not like that. But I mean, like, get together and have a little schmoo.
We'll
I'll forget the cream. Anyway, I just think that
Bring
was
the
really
tube.
nice. Bring the tube, Alfred. Get in here quick. But I just think that would have been a nice ending.
Why?
But the Bond also, I did not realize as I was watching that was Sarah Jessica Parker. Don't know how.
Very young.
Looks like her, sounds
so
like her.
young.
Yeah.
I was like, holy
No clue.
moly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it, man. This is fun. Movie.
If I'm not mistaken, that was her first role. Her first major role.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was only like 16, 17 in that film.
She was pretty.
She was very young.
awesome.
So the soundtrack, if you guys have never looked up the soundtrack, it screams synthwave. Like, it is so good. The closing credits and stuff are great. For me, I think Paul Rubens was kind of a showstopper, especially for his career specifically, because it was literally after this film came out, I believe, right after that, Pee-wee's Playhouse became a staple on Saturday morning.
Yes.
And so we're talking 1986. So this film came out early 86. Pee-wee's Playhouse came out, I believe, the summer of 86. And yeah, seriously. So this was literally at the height of Paul Rubens' career, which was interesting to hear. You definitely can tell that's his voice. Oh my God, it's so his voice. But but I do feel the simplicity of this film was good, where a child could understand it. Yeah, it's very simple. It's not too hard to follow. If you're an 8-year-old kid or a 28-year-old kid, you can probably follow it pretty easily. I always love in the 80s. I don't know why in the 80s you go back to the war games and you're talking about like NASA and you're in NORAD and all these places. Yeah. And then here's this kid, he's taken to NASA down in Kennedy Space Center and he's examining all these probes and things on him and stuff like that. It always was like NASA and space was the big thing about. Even in E.T., you were talking about it, Lindsay. Remember how NASA came in with that house vacuum?
With all like the hazmat suits. Like all scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all the plastic
I could definitely,
vinyl to walk through and all that stuff.
And they're rolling the tube down the street. Remember that scene? But anyway, honestly, I really think that this is one of the lesser talked about 80s films.
Definitely.
It's got a lot of charm to it. And I love Disney put a lot of money into it, and I think that for the time, the CGI and the visual effects were just wow.
Great.
I mean, it was amazing how they did all this stuff. But is there anything else that I've missed? Have we talked about it? Yeah.
I'll tell you something. I just watched a movie that comes out this upcoming weekend on Netflix. So I can't talk too much about it. The embargo hasn't lifted, but I can do a social review. It's called The Adam Project.
Okay.
With Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo. It takes, and I just watched it yesterday and then watched this today. It takes so many ideas from Flight of the Navigator, and it actually ended up being a really good movie. So if you all want to see a more modern, different story, but very similar themes of Flight of the Navigator, this weekend, The Adam Project comes out on Netflix, and I think it's going to get good reception.
Is that Friday?
How they just, it's Friday. Yeah.
This
so
drops
many
Friday.
parallels.
I've heard about the
between
Adam
the two
Project. It sounds interesting.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's good.
I like Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo, so that's a
love
win-win for both of us. All right, guys. Well, let's give our official Flight of the Navigator review, and then we're going to go right on into our spoiler-heavy discussion of The Batman. Lindsay Badger, you started us off. What's your review rating on?
I'm going to stick this one at around a 7.8.
That's great.
It's
Awesome.
a pretty good movie. Pretty good watch.
Austin Burke, how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm going 7.2. I enjoyed this. Again, it's simple, right? It doesn't get very complex. But I don't think it needed to. I think it is what it is, and it worked very well.
I agree. I'm going to go 7.5 on this one for me. I'm kind of in the between the two.
Yeah.
But I do feel, I mean, obviously we're right there in the mid sevens. Guys, I believe it is streaming right now on Disney Plus, which is how we all three saw it together. So if you got Disney Plus, make it a family night. Pop some popcorn and gather around and watch Fly the Navigator.
For kiddos.
Absolutely. But with all of that said, we're going to roll the spoiler alert warning. Are you guys ready to talk some Batman?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're gonna roll that warning. No, I'm not going to do that.
Cream.
All right, spoiler alert. Beyond this point, you've been warned. If you've not seen The Batman, please pause, whether you're listening on podcast audio or on our live stream feed here on YouTube. Please pause, go watch. We don't be responsible for anything that's going to come out of our mouths in the next 25 minutes. You've been warned.
Danger. You are about to enter a PopX spoiler alert. Beyond this point, there is no return. You have been warned.
All right, you have been warned. We are talking The Batman, and my gosh, I am so excited to talk this. I just want to my brain is literally like, I just want to get it all out.
Is there? I don't know if we can talk about the whole movie in 25 minutes. But we're gonna try.
We're gonna give it our
college try.
We're gonna give it our bestest.
So where do you want to start? Do you want to just pick a section and break it down, or how do you? Because I mean, there's 3 hours of Batman goodness to dissect.
I feel we need to start at the beginning and the opening
That's always a good
scenes.
place to start.
We need the opening scenes, the creepiness of the opening scenes really set the tone for the rest of the film. And for me, it was unnerving watching this guy come home from work, playing sword on Halloween night with his family, going upstairs and being bludgeoned to death with a freaking carpet. What was it? Carpet? What do they call it? Carpet tucker. Yes.
Yeah.
And then the scene of seeing the Riddler just rip that tape and just, my God, dude! I was like, "Is this freaking Saw? What am I watching here?"
I was like, Joe, I'm not a horror fan at all. I'm a big fat weenie when it comes to this stuff, and so I was like, "What are we doing right now?"
Yeah,
that scene was a better Saw movie than the new Saw movie.
It was so true, so true. I mean, for me though, I knew in the first 15 minutes of that film, I was like, okay,
it's gonna get real.
I am invested in the next 2 hours and 40 minutes of my life. Here we go.
So let's talk for just a moment about the beginning of that scene, how the peering through the thing and
the
you're
binoculars
through the glass, and it's like you almost get the murder of the parents vibe.
Yeah,
I thought it was the Waynes.
The Waynes.
That part.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
did too.
With the boy
I did
and
too. I was like,
everything and playing along. And I was like, oh no. Oh no, we're going to go there. But they didn't.
Yeah.
It was totally not that. I think they just kind of teased that on purpose because they know it's such a cliche thing at this point because we've seen it so many times. The director was just like, yeah, well, I think we're gonna do it this
We're
way.
gonna but I love it though. He played on the audience because we had no idea who this political figure was at the beginning.
Yes, exactly.
And he's like, I'm going to play a little mind game, much like the Riddler would play, but I'm going to play it on you, the audience. And it was just, dude, the setup was just so brilliantly crafted. It was just phenomenal. And just the tone of hearing, I don't know if you guys could hear it in your theater, but in mine, it was very, very prominent. As the binoculars, you can hear the subtle.
Oh, he's a mouth breather.
I was like, what is?
He is a mouth breather.
Dude, I got freaking chills.
Yeah, I mean, they had those stereo was cranked in my IMAX, so you could feel it like breathing down your neck. Basically, it was just so intense, and I was like, "Can we please stop mouth breathing?"
God.
I'm cringing here.
I felt like I needed to pray to Jesus right in that moment.
Do you guys like this darker take of the Riddler?
Love it.
Yes,
love it.
He's the Zodiac killer.
I thought that I was going to hate it because I'm such a big fan of the more campier Jim Carrey style Joker, which is kind of what we've all grown up to know and love. I now appreciate this version because of the way they treated his character.
Paul Dano.
Dark, sick, and twisted.
I was watching an interview 3 days prior to this film with Paul Dano. Is that his name?
Yeah, he's amazing.
And he was telling the director, not the director, he was telling the interviewer. It was on some kind of, he's being interviewed. You know how they do these promotional things before the movie comes out, and he was saying it took him over a month to come down after playing the role of the Riddler.
I can imagine
because he said there was so much energy, and he had to surround himself with the character. And become he's a method actor first and foremost, and he literally wasn't playing a role. He became the role mentally, physically, what he ate, how he lived. He almost literally mirrored everything that the Riddler would do in his life. In his own, it's very disturbing. But it was interesting hearing that. I was like, dude, he's all in.
In There Will Be Blood, he played a pastor in the Oscar-winning film There Will Be Blood, and he studied under a pastor for months and months. And then he said by the end of filming, he believed he could have been called to be a pastor. That's how much he sunk into the role. He is such a method, incredible actor. Wow, he's incredible.
Well, up until this film, and Austin, I know you know Mr. Dano's work a lot better than I do. Up until this film, I really hadn't seen him in a very prominent role because I haven't seen any movies that he's been in. I'm just being honest. You see more movies than I do. My God, you see 1,000 movies a day. I don't know how you do it, but it's insane. But this, man, Dano for the win.
Yeah.
My gosh.
It really quite fantastic. Fantastic indeed. And dark.
And then after that scene, the gravitas of that scene, you hear that dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, oh my God, here he comes. And of course,
that power chords just driving.
The wall of sound. It's a wall of sound on Michael. How do you say his last name? Giacchino. Oh, so good.
It's got the theme has an Empire Strikes Back vibe to it too. Very dun 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 dun. Dun.
Yeah.
It's where it's so powerful. There's nothing that can penetrate it.
It's
and that's why it works so well for Batman.
And driving.
It is.
And it pushes you through the movie, and it drives the entire movie. The music is just spot on for the tone of the whole.
I said this. I know it's crazy. I love Elfman's theme. Hans Zimmer is my favorite composer of all time.
Same.
I think Giacchino's score is the best Batman score I've ever heard. I think
Agreed.
It's the best.
I would agree with you.
Best.
I would agree with you. And then, I believe...
So we get the signal, right? Is that what happens
we get the
next?
signal. The moments after
Gordon
that
at
is the reveal of Batman. And the first look at Robert Pattinson. And he actually... Batman is coming to investigate the crime scene, walking in with Commissioner Gordon. And all the cops are like,
Really?
Ooh,
You let this vigilante in here?
Yeah.
You know? Oh my gosh, dude. It was just so raw.
It was so New York.
Yeah, very.
Oh, well, every
This
person
guy.
was like, "Hey, man, hey." Do you guys agree with me on this? So we've seen a lot of great Commissioner Gordons, Gary Oldman. I think in terms of a Batman Gordon pairing, this is the best I've ever seen on screen.
They're bros.
Dude,
They're bros.
Great bro.
Commissioner Gordon and Batman working together is comic lore, bro.
Yes.
I mean, the two are like Robin and Batman.
Yes, I think this is the dynamic
This
duo
is
of this
this is
movie.
the movie that showed them working the closest, though, and I think that was a really nice light to
Yes.
shine on that aspect.
Very comic accurate. Very comic.
I'll be honest with you though, I really wish I would have got more of Andy Serkis.
That was my one criticism.
Was it?
Lack
I didn't
of
know. I didn't watch your review, so I didn't see it. I didn't want any spoilers ahead of the show tonight, so I kind
don't
of
blame you.
refrained from your review until this. But I freaking love Andy Serkis. So him as Alfred Pennyworth was just amazing. I really wish there was more of that dynamic there between him. I don't want to get into the weight of the Wayne family just yet. I do want to talk a little bit about the entrance of Catwoman and Zoe Kravitz's character.
Catwoman so much in this movie. I fell in love with her.
Go ahead, Lindsay, because you're taking every word out of my mouth right now.
I fell in love with her from the costuming to the attitude. She wasn't super over the top, but she was such a strong yet sexy person. And I mean, you could tell that she was battling her own internal demons of what was right, what was wrong, and still having this, no, I got this kind of thing. I don't need a man sort of thing, addressing all of that stuff. But the chemistry between the cat and the bat was the perfect mixture.
Yes.
It wasn't too gushy gross, but it wasn't, it wasn't like over the top still the show, but it was like this perfect like pairing that worked so well together throughout the whole movie. And I just really thought that was really nice taste to add into the movie.
Austin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I kind of feel that Zoe Kravitz's take on Catwoman, the difference between her Catwoman and all the other ones that we've seen in history, whether it be in animated or on television or whatever, I believe the difference between hers and all the other ones is she has heart in her character.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I just feel like her and Bruce could be a thing in real life. Like there was so much there that was yet to be explored. I know I'm fast forwarding, but the scene where they
we got
parted,
a little bit more of her origin story too that I don't think
did.
we've touched on. I don't remember the Catwoman movie,
Yeah.
and how deep they went there. But
I don't
she exposed, the childhood and her connection to the mob families and her growing up and why she is the way she is, basically.
Falcone being her father.
Falcone, Falcone's been her. And my gosh, the dude playing Falcone, he's been in fun.
Turturro, man.
Dude,
he's amazing.
I didn't even. I've seen him in funny movies, all comedy movies up until this point. I'm like,
he made a great bad guy.
He made an awesome bad guy.
I loved him.
The quirky secret agent in Transformers. That's when I was a kid.
Right.
I loved him in Transformers, and now he's doing this, and I'm like, oh my god, he's
dude.
intimidating.
That was
He's so intimidating.
That was
just
a great
shines a light on
cast.
the flexibility he has as an actor, and I'm really glad that they put him in that role. And I'm
Agreed.
just thrilled.
Agreed. But getting back to Catwoman, I really do feel, though, that there was great chemistry, a good time with her on screen as well. I felt that we got plenty of scenes. We didn't leave lacking more Catwoman or less of Catwoman. We had it was just right. And I do feel that the driver behind helping her find the truth about her family and unraveling the mystery of this Zodiac Riddler out there, it was a great intertwining mix of just dynamic stories that were well fleshed out far in advance. That's just a hats off to the writing team of this film. Oh my gosh. Austin.
It's one of the easily one of the best scripts I've ever seen in a Batman movie, because the arcs of all of the characters come so, maybe not Alfred, but so full circle by the end. And I think Bruce's progression. See, the big complaint I've seen, and it's valid, is that Bruce is, first of all, not in the movie until 55 minutes into the film. I made note the second time I watched it. 55 minutes. Now, we do at one point see Bruce with the eye makeup on, but I still consider that Batman because he's full Batman mode at that point.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, and so then we see normal Bruce, and to the point to where he's squinting in the daylight and he's putting sunglasses on. He's like, I am a bat. I do not want to be out here. I do not want to associate with you people. But by the end of the film, and I won't skip too far ahead, but the arc for Bruce Wayne in this movie is that he realizes he can no longer be full vengeance and he has to be a shining beacon for the city. And that's where I think in the next movie, we will see more of that billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne, because he has accepted the fact, right, now that he has to be that for the city. It's kind of like how this Spider-Man trilogy was an origin story for who Spider-Man is now, right? The whole trilogy was just an origin. This movie was an origin story for the Bruce Wayne that we know, who I think will make an appearance in the next film as that billionaire playboy.
That was the one
mantra.
thing that I really didn't, I wasn't exactly excited about, was the portrayal of Bruce Wayne. I appreciate that they did a different take on it.
He's just not there yet. That's
I was just like, where's this billionaire playboy? I was like, we've got the cars, we've got the gadgets. You're checking all the boxes of the Batman for me, but it missed a little bit for me on the Bruce Wayne.
Do we know like how far after the death of his parents this movie takes?
2 years. It's second year Batman.
It's the second year he's the Cape Crusader.
Yeah.
But it must be. Do we know his age in this film, or do we have a? I mean, I'm just trying to figure that out because, his parents died when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And they died in
like
2001.
12 or so?
They died in 2001. So if we could get that to 2022, because I think that's the year the movie takes place in.
Okay. So it takes place in
online.
Okay.
So he's in
They
his
made a
20s.
joke that instead of going to the theater, they were going to the movie theater to see Shrek, and that's how his parents got killed. I'm like, oh, that's
okay.
funny.
That makes sense.
Came out
Marco Fulvio here to say that Austin is my favorite YouTube movie reviewer. Thanks for all that you do.
Guess what, Marco? He's my favorite movie reviewer too.
He's mine too, and he's also related to me.
But not related to me.
Oh man, 2 Burks in one show. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So we're getting up to like the middle part, and by this point, like 3 politicians are dead, and there's no leads on how to find this guy.
Oh my gosh, the puzzles though. I'm a puzzle girl, so I was eating all of the ciphers up and stuff. I was like, let's go, let's solve this mystery, Batsy
so good.
boy, let's go.
I was getting heavy Saw vibes on the one politician who had the vice around his neck.
Oh.
And he kind of rolled into the funeral scene
in the car.
And
then
he had
like the phone attached to his hand.
He's like, yeah.
That was like, nope.
Dude, that conversation, that was, I believe, the first conversation that Batman had with the Riddler face to face in real time.
Yeah.
It was just unnerving to hear Riddler talk and just how he was processing everything.
He was live streaming at the same time.
To his followers. Yeah.
Jeez.
I also love how in the movie they make it a point, Batman will stop and look at that little boy whose dad just died. And then he does it again during the car scene. Now, some people have theorized. Is that our future Robin? There's a big theory because there is a big conversation happening right now that Reeves has mentioned Robin, the director, multiple times, and that there could be a Robin coming into this universe.
Is the little boy taking gymnast classes?
I don't know. See, that's the thing. It's like, does he? I don't know if that's our Robin or if we get a Robin now.
Do we have multiple? Do we have multiple like storylines for Robin's backstory?
I don't know.
Dick Grayson was the Flying Graysons. They did
the Serkis family.
Circus
family was the origin story for them. So I didn't know if there was an alternate. Yep. My dad was a rich mayor that got murdered.
There's multiple Robins, though. There's also, if you go back to Frank Miller's adaptation of the Dark Knight comic book, which would led to 1989 Batman, there was a female Robin.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorites.
So there's that.
Yeah. So, I think it would.
Maybe not in that particular storyline, but
I look at a movie like Logan with X-23. They made that work.
Yeah.
If they can make a relationship between an old man and that kid work. Why not do it in a Batman movie and bring it to live action?
I love
love
it.
to see a Robin in this universe.
I would love to.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So did you guys like Penguin?
Oh, let's talk about Colin Farrell for a minute.
Let's talk about Penguin for a minute.
Easy, sweetheart.
He's so good.
He was a very nice Penguin for this movie.
For the most part.
For the franchise. I mean, he wasn't like beating people in the street or anything weird.
I don't think this Penguin had a lot of power yet because
he does
Falcone hasn't died yet. Now Falcone is spoiler alert. Falcone is shot at the end of the film, which transitions the power directly to the hands of Penguin.
Bring the
and that scene with Penguin overlooking him, he's like, hey man, he's just like, Falcone looks at him and says to himself essentially, oh my God, he's about to take he's taking the reins. And see how Penguin has that kind of almost that classic Penguin look. He's getting there slowly, man. I think that's the end of that transformation right there. He's turned into Penguin.
Yeah.
I'd love to see
he will be the crime boss. He will be the crime lord of Gotham. I would say, like Kingpin. If Kingpin to Daredevil, Penguin to Batman. Same scenario.
Arkham.
Well, I mean, we've got that's another thing to be set up for the second movie. We've got Joker, we've got Riddler, and now we're going to have Penguin.
The three heavy hitters.
Trio.
Yes.
Here's what I hope they do. Reeves has talked, and we'll get to this more. I guess we can talk a little bit about it right now. Reeves has talked a lot about Mr. Freeze. A lot. He loves that character, loves that story, and I think have a little bit of stuff going on at Arkham in the second movie, but give us a Sub-Zero classic Mr. Freeze and his wife storyline. And then the casting rumors are crazy. They're like Bryan Cranston, Giancarlo Esposito as Mr. Freeze. I'm like,
I could see Cranston as Freeze.
Oh.
Oh my God,
Cranston.
he kill as Mr. Freeze.
I could too.
Wow. Because Cranston's got that deep voice.
I am the one who freezes.
I am the one who knocks.
Oh, that would be amazing. I would love it. Grounded too.
But he's got to have that German, German accent? Isn't Victor von Fries, isn't he? Isn't that his name? Isn't that his name?
Before in the animated series, they gave him an American accent, but yeah, he originally did.
Is it Victor von Fries? Or is it?
That's right. They are doing a Penguin series on HBO, so that's probably setting that up right there.
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm.
Well,
or he'll be the crime boss.
Dang.
I hope.
Who's direct? Do we know who's directing that?
Reeves is executive producing. I'm not entirely sure what the writing team looks like, but I don't even know. Is it a prequel? We don't know yet, but I hope it's after this movie. I hope so.
Yeah. It's Dr. Victor Freeze.
Nice.
Yeah, I had to Google that to make sure. I was like, wait, it sounds right, but I want to make sure it's right for our audience.
I would love to see Cranston.
So what are some bits that we're not covering? I know there's a lot. There's 3 hours of stuff going on here, but
man,
I really like the twists and turns with the different politicians and detective work. The detective work in this movie is brilliant, and I love seeing that. I love the detective side of Batman, and I'm glad that was like the main focus.
I'm glad you said that.
I really enjoyed the let's talk gadgets in cars for a minute, boys. Yes. We can't skip out on the goodies.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
contact, the eye contact.
Yeah, so cool, man.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So
freaking amazing.
The eye contact, that was great.
The cape that turned into the flying suit.
Did you see his hesitancy when he got to the top of the building?
Like, oh geez.
You could tell he's not comfortable in that situation
he's not
with those heights.
In the flying.
That was interesting, but he had to go.
Why I love looking at this as just a full-on origin for. I mean, year 2. That's early, man. Looks like he's never been that high before. Looks like he's never done certain things. The wingsuit, he messed up and hit the bridge. Like, he is really learning right now. And
you know what else I really felt? And it was subtle. We only saw it once towards the very end. But the bat symbol coming off as the little knife batarang thing. And then he just popped it right back in. I was like, that's the coolest thing ever.
Well,
and it was very underutilized, in my opinion. But
the gadget of all gadgets, let's talk about that Batmobile reveal.
Yes, please.
On the penguin chase.
If you guys have not had the opportunity to see this movie in IMAX, you are not fully experiencing the Batmobile.
Dude, the engine it seemed like 5 minutes. The engine revving up, and then Oswald
so
Cobblepot looking. It's like, what is that? And it's just like, look at that. Oh, you got the pop vinyl.
The rumble.
And look at the muscle
shook
car look to
the
it, dude.
chairs in
it was
theater.
shaking, man.
Dude,
I had vibrations from head to toe. It was amazing.
I got to be honest. I mean, for me, the 1989 Batmobile will always be my favorite Batmobile.
That's iconic.
And I was a fan of the Christopher Nolan Rumbler.
Yeah, it was a very different take on it that we didn't normally
But
see.
that old school scaled back Batmobile with a freaking turbo engine in the back of it.
Muscle car.
Muscle car, harkening back to like that 70s muscle car vibe.
It did get a little nod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're putting out there, Mr. Reeves. I see what you're putting out, Matt Reeves. It was
going against the traffic. A car chase against the traffic.
In the rain. A downpour.
In the rain.
Dude, how did they shoot that in the frickin' rain?
No clue.
Okay, and how the trailer was rolling and turning magically into a ramp. I was like, that is the coolest stunt moment ever.
It was a stunt. Matt Reeves confirmed.
Ever.
It was all a stunt. He said very minimal CGI in that sequence.
What?
Yeah. It was a stunt. The Batmobile coming through
You're
the flames
kidding me.
was filmed. He said we filmed the Batmobile coming through the flames in the mirror.
I'm
with
done.
that shot.
I'm done. I'm shutting this off now.
Dude,
that's ridiculous.
I literally have goosebumps on my legs right now knowing that.
That's
oh my
ridiculous.
God.
And this is a master of CGI. This is the guy who directed the Planet of the Apes trilogy. So he could have easily went CGI, but he said, you know what? We're going to go practical.
I just love the timing of it with the penguin. He was just like, haha, I got you.
Dude,
and then it's like,
when the weight of that car, when he came off the ramp and he come down and the suspension and the tires expanded.
Amazing.
My
so good.
God, what a shot in the rain with the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty dang baller right there. I'm not going to lie to you.
No
that
words.
was I'm pretty sure I needed a change of underwear after that.
You know, that wasn't even the most action-packed part. I mean, come
No,
on, we
it
literally
wasn't.
flooded Gotham in this movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
a Bane, man.
Let's
big.
Let's pull up a little bit and go past the talk about the third act a little bit.
Yeah.
So the culmination is more threats are coming out, and he has been captured at this point. Paul Dano's character, but we think that's the end of the film because we've seen the trailer and I was sitting there like, why are they showing us the end of the film when the Riddler's already caught?
Yeah.
That's not the end of the film, guys.
Interrogations.
That interrogation.
Oh my God, that interrogation scene was insane.
Interrogation scene.
It was creepy, dude. It was freaking unnerving
Bruce
to watch.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because he believes, first of all, he clearly hates Bruce Wayne, clearly. But Bruce Wayne believes that he knows his identity at that point. And I've actually talked to people that there are actually two sides of the coin here. Some people think he knows he's Bruce
had
Wayne.
me
I don't
fooled
think he.
so
I don't think he.
I was under the
No,
assumption
he doesn't.
I don't was under the assumption that he's saying Bruce Wayne to get the name out there but he's not making the assumption that Bruce Wayne is the guy in the bat suit.
Yes.
Bruce Wayne is the only one that he targeted in the movie that survived.
And survived.
And that is why he's saying Bruce Wayne, and that's why he's lamenting over the name, and he's just circling the drain, trying to figure out how to get him because
and
of,
Bruce,
the Wayne history that they unveiled, which I wasn't privy
That
to.
was let's talk about that before we talk about the explosion of the floodgates. So the different spin on the Wayne story here.
Yeah.
The Waynes were shot, as traditional comic lore would tell us, but the involvement of Thomas Wayne into Falcone because his wife had a mental illness that he wanted to cover up, essentially. He didn't want the public to know about it because he was entering a mayoral public. Yep. And so he looked to Falcone to help with that, and and a gangster's going to do what a gangster's going to do, and ended up killing the Waynes. And
should have known, but there was apparently a little bit of desperation in Thomas Wayne, so he didn't want him to kill him. But that's just what Falcone does, apparently.
He just kills without even thinking.
It was
Like
nice
did
to put a
Thomas.
little bit of depth behind that to kind of understand it wasn't just a random cold killing like it looked
Yes.
like. It was way deeper than that.
But the reveal,
So that
I was just going to say, the reveal of that for Bruce Wayne's character in the film has a lot of gravity to it.
Yes.
Because
I think that right there is when his character shifted from vengeance to more of a beacon of hope and trying to rebuild the city sort of
Right.
thing.
I feel, he lived his whole life thinking his family was just randomly shot, not understanding the depths of his father's ties to the mob of Gotham. And I really, truly love that different spin on it, because how many times have we seen the poor Wayne family die?
Right. And that right there was the biggest reason why we had an Alfred in this
Right.
movie, was to confirm, because he is that father figure in his life, to confirm that those facts that he was being fed from a psychopath was actually true.
Yeah. Over in the chat room right quick, I want to just highlight this because this is great. Relentless MK, my buddy Mike here in town. The previous Batman movies had a couple of actors that were great. This one had so many actors hitting on next level.
Oh, that is 100% legit true.
That is accurate as can be, Mike. Thanks for tuning
Well
in,
done,
buddy.
Mike.
But the weight of Bruce Wayne finding that out and confronting Alfred when Alfred was part of the target of the Riddler, because Bruce Wayne was supposed to have died. Bruce Wayne wasn't there. Alfred got in the blast. He's in the hospital. And then the weight of, him saying, "Why didn't you tell me?" And, it's just a heavy, heavy scene for Wayne to digest that. But then also understanding his own family's ties, that him and Catwoman's got a lot in common right now.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen some complaints that Bruce's arc doesn't really work in this movie, and I have to disagree, because that scene alone,
I do disagree.
That scene sold it.
Beautiful.
And here's another thing too that's going to help with that character shift development too, is that all of that information was released out into the public, so his family name is now tarnished. Which previously they were held on such a high pedestal. So Bruce Wayne as a person is going to be viewed very differently moving forward, and now he's going to have to look at Batman as being somebody that steps up and does the right thing.
I agree.
And not go down to the level of the Wayne name.
Yeah, I mean, just the weight of that, figuring that part out, and then going into the last act after the Riddler is captured, and he's targeted now, the running mayor of the city, and little did we know that...
Was her name Rial, I think was the last name of the candidate? Right. It doesn't...
I can't remember, honestly, to be honest with you. Shame, I've only seen the movie one time, so I don't really have that much... I can't recall the names.
It's fine, and it's fresh on my brain because I just watched it a few hours ago.
Just seeing, it's like, is that the Riddler? Then another one shows up behind him, and I'm like, oh no, this is his army that he's been streaming to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good God. And then all of a sudden, you could see him looking. So we're going back to Paul Dano in the prison. He's like, wait for it. Boom. And
you haven't figured it out yet.
No. And it's just like, that moment when, now, Bruce Wayne 10 years from that point probably could have figured that out. But a young 2-year-old detective...
He's still learning.
Still couldn't get... There was another piece of that puzzle that he didn't quite figure out.
Right.
And
which is an amazing callback to The Long Halloween, because in The Long Halloween, Bruce Wayne fails really as Batman for the first time. And that moment in this movie, I'm like, oh my God, they really are kind of doing. And there was even a Hush Easter egg during the Thomas Wayne video. So I'm like, they really are kind of pulling on The Long Halloween.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, it was great. And if you've not seen The Long Halloween, don't they have the animated of that as well? It's on HBO Max.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Very good.
But just the realization that this movie is far from over. But for me, yes, the floodgates were blown up essentially, and feet of water is rushing into the city. The city is being evacuated. There's pandemonium. The cops are doing their thing, and Batman is in this giant arena, and he's trying to figure and assess everything out. And that's when he starts seeing the Riddler army, if you will. Fast forward a little bit, if we can, to the moment when Batman steps out of the light and becomes the hero that Gotham needs him to be.
Yeah.
With the mud and the dirt and the grime all over his face and his outfit, he is digging people out of the rubble.
Yeah.
That...
It was that leap off of that platform where it's that he went and chopped that electrical and fell down into the water. When he came out of that water, it was almost like, do I dare say, a baptism of a moment for him.
A rebirth of him.
It went completely dark when he came out of that water and he lit that fuse of that flare.
Yeah.
Everything had that red tone. The colors in this movie are brilliant, by the way.
Yeah.
The red tone just saturates everything, and you just see him being the hero that he should be and is meant to be.
Lindsay, you just said something that was very profound, is a baptism of his character. I believe in that moment, everything that the Wayne family had endured due to the mob, everything that was tied to him as a character, as a son of Thomas Wayne, I believe that was the moment that arc for his story truly came alive, and there was purpose and passion behind now. That was the thing that was missing. Where is the passion? What is the purpose?
Yeah.
And it wasn't for a name for himself, but it's for the citizens of Gotham.
Yeah. It's a mindset shift.
It's a mindset shift, exactly
what that was.
And that was such, I love the way you said that. It truly is a baptism of that character. To rise out of the ashes of the rubble that's literally around you and become literally the red phoenix rising from the water with this flare in your hand, leading people out like, it was amazing. Amazing moment of cinematography. Austin Burke, what are your thoughts on that?
Isn't it a cool role reversal that as of this moment at the end of that movie, whereas normally it's the exact opposite, the city views Batman as a beacon of hope, but they view the Waynes as more of the corrupt, whereas normally it's the Waynes are the beacon of hope and Batman is corrupt. Now, how are they going to play that in the next? That is a beautiful thing by Reeves to play with.
It's a great dynamic. And I hope they keep that dynamic intact, because
me too.
I'm a fan of that. I really am. Man. I'm a fan of that retelling, rehashing of it's okay for the Waynes to get their hands dirty. We don't have to have the Waynes to be the Cinderella utopian family that, it doesn't have to be.
Well, and I know we have it here in the notes, and they said it in the movie too about the Bruce Wayne is the mask and the Batman's the actual person. Yes. I think that just pushes that meaning over and over again for the rest of the movie.
I really agree. I mean, for me, those climactic moments when he's rising up to do what he needs to be done, and the cops are just they're strung out. They have no more resources to pull. And he just does what he does. He just, he's torn up. He's beaten all to heck. Yeah. His body is just damaged beyond, but he just rises up and does what needs to be done, despite everything.
It's like in The Dark Knight Rises when he takes the bomb away from the city. It's like those are the moments with the character that I like the most.
Yeah.
The less vengeful and more beacon of hope type moments, and I think that was represented so well.
It was.
So well.
It was. And everything we've talked about tonight is just, I really feel that all three of us, and even the chat, is in harmony about the way we feel about this movie. There's so many great moments, and I can't wait to watch this on the second viewing, which may be this week, by the way. But I feel truly this is probably one of the best DC movies maybe to come out in quite some time. I know that... what was it? Suicide Squad last year with James Gunn was a decent, was pretty fun, but that's more campy.
It is
Yeah,
campy.
But this was more real, more relatable.
It was raw, man.
It was,
That's
yeah,
some
raw. That's a
emotional
good
stuff.
word, raw. Lindsay, Austin, is there anything that I missed?
Joker.
I'm
Joker.
Yeah, Joker. We definitely have to visit that.
And did you want to talk about, too, Bruce Wayne is the mask?
Yeah, I think we hit on it a little bit. I think that is what a lot of people are seeing as a movie that separates itself from the comics a bit. I think this is actually one of the best comic book representations of the character because he looks at himself as who I'm supposed to be when he is Batman as opposed to Bruce Wayne. And I think that's what Batman's always been at his core. But this is the first time it's ever been like explicitly put to us on screen. So I think that is my favorite part of the movie. The fact that he is himself, like even when he's Bruce Wayne, he's whispering. When he's Batman, he talks louder.
They
He's
have
more
that, that's an ongoing theme from the very beginning of the movie of him journaling. I'm becoming more nocturnal and the animal.
Oh, and I'm glad you said that. The voiceover narrative by Robert Pattinson.
Loved it.
Holy cow.
I am the shadows.
I am in the shadows.
Even whenever
my
having to
God.
deal with the Wayne responsibilities and appearances and meetings, it's just you feel that it's just like, okay, well, I have to put on my Bruce mask, you know, the begrudging responsibilities of the family title, that sort of thing. So, I mean, even from the very beginning of the movie, that's definitely an ongoing theme that is relatable.
Yeah, I agree. And was there something else, Austin? Oh, Joker. So totally unexpected. I didn't expect this. And I heard online before watching this that there's some parts, some movies had it cut and some areas had it included. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, so for a while, this was a year and a half ago, they said he was going to be a Gotham cop named Stanley Merkel. And I'm like, okay, Barry Coogan's not going to play Stanley Merkel. I was thinking maybe Mad Hatter. There have been a lot of Mad Hatter rumors, but then something came out in July or August where there was a leaked something of his makeup that they were doing on him. I'm like, well, Barry Coogan makeup, he's not going to be the Joker, is he? And then they cut these Joker scenes for one of the test screenings, and there's actually another scene where Batman is in Arkham and encounters the Joker in his cell that was cut from the actual version of the movie. So there's another scene out there with Joker in it, but this is the version we got, and this is the version that showed us that Barry Keoghan is actually Joker. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we're setting up seriously a dynamic power play here of Penguin, Joker, Riddler, Catwoman. I mean, all the heavy hit. All we needed now is like Two-Face, Harvey Dent.
Catwoman left town, so she would have to come back.
Yeah,
And
I don't feel that she's too far away.
The district attorney died, so that leaves room for Harvey Dent to come in the picture.
Oh, good call.
Right?
Good call. Harvey Dent, the DA, is dead.
The can of worms has been opened.
My gosh. Man, I'm just so ready for a sequel to this film. I
mean, they were screaming power grab at the end of the movie because everyone was dead, basically. So it's going to be chaos in Gotham.
And I'm just so delighted that we get a film like this that gives us something so fresh. When I first heard that Robert Pattinson was being cast as Batman, I kind of chuckled in it myself. But then I started to see some of the stuff that he's been in as of recent, way post some of his Twilight stuff. And he's an intense actor, very intense actor. And it started kind of resonating with me that this is going to be something special that we've not seen before. And lo and behold, it truly was. But I feel that we're at this point, we're just kind of rambling.
I think we hit all the hard.
I think we did.
Hard points there.
Let me check the chat here right quick. Make sure. I do wish the trailer hadn't given away the ending of the car chase away. Yeah, that's true. The previous Batman. Okay, so we're looking here. My favorite moment was the jail scene with Batman and the Riddler. Yes. I'm ready to see a Clayface or Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy. That
I
is
would love
crazy.
to have some new bad guys thrown into the cinema.
I talk Marvel. Bruce Wayne. Love it. And I love the Riddler kept saying Bruce Wayne, and Batman thought his identity was revealed until the music stopped and the Riddler referred to Bruce Wayne as him.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Yeah.
So definitely good. Thank you so much, I Talk Marvel, and John Poffenbarger and Relentless MK in the chat for keeping that conversation going over there. We appreciate that. But you guys ready to review this thing?
Yeah.
Wrap this up. I'm going to go with the lady first. It's always right to go with the missus first, so go ahead.
Boys, I'm going to slap a 9.2 on this bad
Holy
boy.
mother of bat.
Let's go.
Okay.
It's a brilliant ride. I want to see it again.
I love hearing that from you, Lindsay.
It's just it's all bat.
It's all bad.
It's just
bat.
all bat goodness.
Austin?
Yeah. I went with the 9.5. I saw the movie 2 more times. I want to go up, but I'm not ready to do that just yet. I'm going to go 95 for my score.
9.5. I'm going to go one up. I'm going to go 9.6. I'm not playing the less Price is Right game on you right now. You know, where you bet $1 and I bet $2.
Yeah.
1 cent up.
But I really do feel that was kind of the number that was echoing in the back of my mind. I was bouncing between 9.7 and 9.6. And it was a balance between the cinematic score, the cinematography, the acting. Dude, we've not seen anything like this in a long time. And so, especially in terms of comic book movies that are being made in present day. So 9.6 for me. So we got a 9.2, 9.5, 9.6. As you can see, this movie is definitely firing on all cylinders, if I do say so myself. And if you guys are listening or watching, I want to know what your score is on the Batman. If you're watching right now on the live stream, go ahead and type it in the chat. But if you're watching us on the replay, please feel free to type that in the comments below. What did you think about the film? Give it your score. You can score it how you want to. 1 out of 100, or you can do 1 out of 10, whatever floats your boat. We don't care. We just want to know what you think about this film. And also, if you're listening on our audio podcast, hey, just drop us a line on Twitter or on our Facebook page. Just find the link to our show, this show right here, and just comment down below. Hey guys, this is my score. All right. So from all of that, we're going to go ahead and move things on over into the close of the show. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. You guys are truly amazing. Austin Burke, you get the honors, bud.
Yeah. Austin Burke at the Burkinator. You can search and find me. I just put out my ranking of 50 Batman movies on my YouTube channel.
Wow.
So if you want to see where this movie ranks, it's really high. Spoilers. We are part of the newly formed creative group known as the Creative Multiverse. For more great media, content, artwork, and more, find us on Facebook groups and now on Discord at the Creative Multiverse. If you are a creative, produce content, or have a talent, we want to see it and would like for you all to share it with us in the multiverse.
In the multiverse.
Yes, Pop X is also in the multiverse. We're all over the social media places, actually. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter. That handle is at PopXCast. We do have an email, too, if you like doing it that way, popxcast@gmail.com. And we do have a website. Don't forget to check out all of our awesome shows, future and past shows coming up at popxcast.com.
That's it. And I am Joseph Burke, and want to say at Joseph Burke Arts all over social media. You can find me there and connect with me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever you want to go. And of course, hats off to amazing Team Pop X, Lindsay and Austin. You guys are freaking amazing. I love you. I thought I was going to say bonkers or something.
Too.
Yeah, stop it. But we will see you in about 2 weeks on our next episode, episode 140. We will schedule that out on our feed. But drop us a link in the drop us a comment in this show feed right here. Let us know what you think about tonight's show. Let us know what you think about the scores of Flight of the Navigator, if you've seen that, and also if you've seen the Batman movie. So from all of us here at PopX Cast, take care, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Thanks for being a part of the PopX family. If you liked our show, please visit our YouTube page. Be sure to click subscribe and tap the notification bell so you'll know when we go live next. Visit our Discord channel by clicking the QR code on screen during our live stream, or simply visit bit.ly/Creative Multiverse. Connect with us on social media by using @PopXCast. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.